I had a conversation with the head of corporate credit operations at one of Canada's largest telecoms. And he shared with me that they had an issue with collecting small balances, so balances that are less than $75. Why this is an issue, and by the way, these types of debts in a telecom, a lot of the times even the end customer doesn't even know that they owe this money. They could have moved, they thought they paid their final balance, maybe there was a prorated bill that went to their old address, they never received it. You'd be surprised how much these small balances add up. In this case, he had said over the course of a couple of years, it was north of $50 million. Now, why it's difficult to collect? It doesn't make sense to collect a $14 balance and spending $26 to do it with the hopes of having an agent collect. So nobody internally is doing that. When they end up assigning it to an agency, the agencies, one of their biggest sticks is to assign debtors to credit bureaus. But according to the laws, you can't assign debts that are less than $75. So they may do a mass email or dialer, but they're not actually going to assign any agents to work this account. So they'll just do a mail blast and hope for the best. Now, what ends up happening is those accounts don't get worked over time. They age, which means it's harder to collect. The companies, the corporations end up pulling back these debts, and they end up having to sell it. So in this particular case, they had north of $50 million. They ended up selling that for less than 3 cents on the dollar. Now, if you can imagine, on a $50 million bet, that's over $48 million that they're leaving on the table. So huge, huge opportunities here. But that isn't even the worst part. Once that debt is sold, the company that collects the debt now owns that debt. They don't care about your brand. They can collect it using whatever means they need. And so brand impact is a huge, huge issue if you go down this path. So from our perspective, we think this is a perfect opportunity to use, GenAI automation to retrieve the revenue. We think that we can adhere to the customer's brand. So it's definitely brand differentiating, and we can optimize the resources. We have the control how many bots we want to assign based on the volumes.